What's happening, guys? So in this video today, we're going to talk about 7 deadly sins you must avoid at all costs. It's going to be real talk here today, keeping it 100. I'm going to share with you 7 things that I wish I knew when I embarked in this journey over 15 years ago and about a decade ago when I started here in the fragrance community. So if you guys want to know what these deadly sins are that you should avoid, stick around. It's up next. So today we're going to talk about 7 deadly sins, 7 mistakes, plus that you should avoid at all costs when embarking on this venture of, fragrance collecting, fragrance journey, so forth and so on. The first deadly sin that you should avoid at all costs is the misconception of more expensive, better quality, or niche, better quality. There's exceptions to the rules, of course. We have a ton of great niche company brands that have been around for years and years, 10, 15, 20, 30 years plus, that you can definitely trust. Guerlain is a great, example of that, even though it is most of the time looked at as a designer brand. It's been around for hundreds of years, so you can trust. Other brands could be a little gimmicky. Do your research, make sure you guys know what you're getting into it. Make sure that you're spending your money wisely. There's new brands popping left and right every day, so don't think that bigger price means big quality or niche always going to be better. There's tons of designer fragrances out there that are great in performance, great in quality, so forth and so on. So be aware of that. Don't always throw money at something that appears to be great, but is not always the case. So due diligence, be aware, do your research. Number one thing to keep in mind here with this particular number one mistake here to avoid, or sin not to commit, is to make sure you are aware of what you're buying. Don't think that big price equals big quality or niche is always better than designer. Keep that in your mind. The second mistake here, the second deadly sin, is something that I'm guilty as charged. I've been doing it for many years, and for the longest time, especially in the beginning, I just follow the trends, whatever top lists, whatever, best fragrances out there people were talking about that were number 1, number 2, or number 3 on their lists. Those were the fragrances that I was procuring. Those were the fragrances that I was throwing money at. So make sure you discover what you truly like. Don't wear what people tell you should wear. Don't like things just because people are saying these are the best fragrances out there. Of course, there's a fine line, take it with a grain of salt, Of course, going back to the first sin here, or the first mistake, follow people you do trust. Follow people that you think has a similar taste or nose to yours. And that way, chances of committing mistakes or following trends are going to be lesser. But I was guilty as charged in the beginning, a decade ago, 2008, 2009, when I started following into the fragrance community. I was really looking for those top lists and really focusing my purchases on those top lists, only to find out that a lot of those top, picks were not my true taste, my true identity, my true, wheelhouse, if you will. And I came to find out that I really enjoyed vintage fragrances, fougères, woody, spicy, woody aromatics. Those were my true, favorite type of scents. Of course, I have a little bit of everything. As you see behind me, there's thousands of fragrances, and I have a pretty eclectic, a pretty, vast taste. But I do understand exactly what I like, and not following the trends is something very important, because otherwise you're going to be just wearing what everyone is. So the second mistake here is find your true scent profile identity. Find what you truly love instead of following what people are saying you should love. Third deadly sin here, don't abide by fragrance rules that people try to impose. Don't follow the gender trick. Somebody says this is more toward women or more toward masculine. It's all hearsay. The bottom line is you need to wear this stuff. You need to, find out if you truly like it for yourself, wear it in your skin. Your nose knows best. I have a ton of, women-based scents that I love, including Shalimar from Guerlain is one of them that comes to mind. Hypnotic by Dior, which is another women's fragrance that I've, wore for many years. So there are many fragrances that are geared toward women that I do wear to this day that are unisex or gender-free. So don't follow into that restraint or constrictions of gender-based scents. Just wear what you truly love. Going back to the second point here, just try it on skin. Make sure you love the scent rather than, oh, this is a female or this is a masculine scent. I shouldn't wear this fragrance. BS. Wear what you love. Try it on skin. Just live with the scent. That way you're going to find out exactly if you do love that scent or not. Florals are typically the ones that are more toward women. But again, over the years, I've been, starting to really take a liking for floral scents, and there are a lot of floral scents that I do enjoy that my wife wears that I wear as well. We actually share them. Baccarat Rouge 540 is another one that's mostly a feminine scent, but I do love as well. So just a couple examples to show you that, you know, that gender thing is sometimes gimmicky, but of course, you know, depending on your taste, you know, going back to the second point again, you know, harping on that, when you find out your true wheelhouse, the true fragrances that you love, you might not like fragrances that are geared toward women, but don't just disregard that because people are saying you shouldn't wear feminine scents, okay? That's my point. Fourth deadly mistake here that you should avoid at all costs because it's gonna save you a world of hurt, especially your wallet or your bank account or your credit cards, is going to be blind buying. I am so guilty of this, guys. I've been doing it for many years. I still do it to this day on a monthly basis. I'll be blind buying things that I want to try, that I want to, you know, do first impressions, or I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm eagerly to try and wear it, new fragrance releases. I do it all the time. But it is a very costly hobby or action to do. If you're going to do this constantly, be prepared. You're going to spend thousands of dollars every year. So what I suggest to offset that you know, that hurdle is actually, you know, going through spots that you can actually try the fragrance before you buy. Whether you can get samples for the fragrance that you're trying to check out from a store, from a retailer, from your general store, or checking out Perfume.com, which is the partner of this channel. You guys can use my code MAX15 every time I do top seasonal videos, top summer, top fall. If you want to try the whole, you know, list of fragrances that I talk about, you can check out the Max Packs, which is heavily discounted from if you were to buy them individually. Plus, using the Max 15 will give you an additional 15% on top. So it's a great place to check fragrances before you buy them, and will save you the problem of actually buying full bottles, not liking them. They're just sitting there collecting dust. And of course, you're spending a lot of money that you could otherwise use for, you know, better things that you need, you know, for your family, for your life, you know, savings, what have you. So be very sensitive to the fact that don't blow your money on bottles after bottles after bottle. It's just going to sit around. This is a library for me. I need this because this is what I do. But again, if you're just going to be accumulating bottles just for the sake of collecting, it can be rather very expensive. But if you're actually looking for something that you want to wear, something that you want to truly love, or finding a fragrance that you're going to keep in your rotation, I think sampling or quote unquote decant, trying it before you're buying it, I think it's the best way to do it. You can wear the fragrance, live with it, and then find out for sure if you really love that fragrance, and then you go ahead and commit to a full bottle, which can be quite expensive. So number 4 mistake here, don't blind buy. Fifth deadly sin here, or mistake, it's something again that I'm guilty as charged of doing, especially with new releases, is paying retail, guys. 99% of the time, unless of course we're talking about Chanel, which is something that really never found at discounters, because, you know, Chanel is very strict about that. But any other company out there, guys, chances are, like I said, 99% of the time you're going to find discounts from their own websites, you know, throughout the year, or you're going to find them at your favorite discount store online, which in my case, of course, fragrancebuy.ca, I think it's the best one out there. Incredible customer service, fast shipping, amazing selection of niche, indie, and designers. So I always tell you guys, I've been telling you guys for the past 4 years, 18, 19, 20, and 21, 4 years now, I've been saying, guys, fragrancebuy.ca is the number one spot for discounted scents. And of course, new releases, the greatest and the latest. Hard to find stuff, you know, hidden gems. They're always getting like discontinued stuff on their site. So it's the number one place, hands down, right now. Over the past few years, there's no better place to check out fragrances at a discount better than fragrancebuy.ca. Again, check it out, but there's a ton of different websites out there that you can check out. You know, FragranceNet. There's a ton of different websites out there, as you guys know. They also pop, you know, left and right, but be careful, because I've heard horror stories of these quote-unquote discount websites that pop left and right, newcomer stores not standing behind their products, you know, horrible, you know, slow, sluggish shipping, fake products. So be careful, guys. Always, you know, shop at your discounter store that you actually are comfortable with. And I, you know, put a stamp of approval right there, and I sign right below it. And I know that you will never have any issues as far as like fast shipping, you know, 100% authenticity, staying behind their products. Just great customer service, and of course, incredible selection, always 100% authenticity. You have no worries there. Fragrancebuy.ca. And again, going back here to the fifth mistake, do not pay retail unless you absolutely have to. Of course, exceptions to the rules here. Chanel is definitely one of them, but outside of that, you really don't have to pay retail unless you want to, of course. The sixth deadly mistake here, guys, is something that's very, very talked about in the community, which is performance, right? We're always looking for those beast mode performing fragrances. Understand one thing, guys, not everything needs to be beastly. Not everything has to be nuclear in performance. You don't need a fragrance that is going to project like crazy. I think, projection and longevity are two different things. Overall performance, I understand it should be good. You should have a fragrance that lasts at least a day's work. 6 to 8 hours on average, I think, is something that's to be expected. But don't get confused or caught up on the longevity / projection. I think projection, 1.5 to 2 hours is more than enough. As long as the fragrance gives you a nice scent bubble, I think you're fine there. I'll give you a perfect example here. Here's a fragrance that I'm wearing lately that I absolutely love. It's very classy, very elegant, very sophisticated, which I'll be talking to you guys about this fragrance in a different video, which is the new 2021 Brioni. This stuff is fantastic. I'm not going to give you too much about this fragrance right here because, again, I'm going to talk about it in a different video. But it's a fragrance that projects very nice for the first 1.5 to 2 hours, but it gives me a really nice sillage, and it lasts on my skin for about 6 to 7 hours. And that's plenty, guys, because maybe I want to wear 2 fragrances. Maybe I want to wear something for the night. I want to wear this for the day. So it gives you that kind of, ability to wear maybe 2 fragrances on the same day. So not every fragrance needs to be beast. Of course, there are fragrances that you need to be beast when you're going outdoors and it's a really cold day, or if you go into a place that you really want to project. But just understand that not every single fragrance in your collection needs to be beastly or nuclear in performance. That's something that's very, misled, and it's a misconception within the fragrance community that you think everything has to be, 20 hours in performance. Not the case. And there are exceptions to that rule as well, because sometimes you want something that's a little bit more tamed, a little bit more, closer to you, because, if you're going on settings like if you're in the hospital, if you're in the office, you can't really be nuclear because you have to respect other people's space. Maybe people have allergies, so forth and so on. Just to let you guys know here, the 6th point here, the 6th deadly mistake, don't buy into every fragrance needs to be beastly in performance. One more thing here with the nuances of a fragrance that has beastly performance. For the most part, if a fragrance has beastly performance, 90% of the time it's going to be more of a linear scent, and it's not going to give you all the nuances, all the transitions and developments that a fragrance that is not beastly in performance will give you. So, I'd rather have a fragrance that I will not sacrifice the actual quality and development of the fragrances on my skin for the beastly performance. I think a nice combination, a nice balance is really what I'm looking for. And the last mistake here, the deadly sin that I'm going to share with you guys, is something that I get asked about all the time, which has to do with shelf life / storage. I see a lot of guys making this mistake, and it's cringy to see people storing their fragrances in their bathroom or their bathroom closets. Guys, understand the bathroom is not the proper place to store your fragrances because the temperature there is going to vary. You're going to have days that you're going to take really warm showers, the steam, it's going to bruise and hurt the molecules of your fragrance / making your fragrance go sour or expire a lot sooner. If you want your fragrances to have longer shelf life, keep your fragrances away from sunlight. Keep your fragrances away from oxygen / air. Make sure, if it's going to be a splash on, that's always, with a cap on, especially if you can put it on in the actual box, even better. If you can keep your fragrances in the dark, in the closet, perhaps if you have a little fridge for your most prized possessions or most expensive fragrances, even better. You can keep that fragrances stored between 60 and 65 degrees. That is optimal, and your fragrances will last a long time. This particular room here that I shoot my videos at, it's actually temperature controlled. It's always between 70, 75 degrees. There's no sunlight directly on my bottles. This is just some lights that I have hanging above here for the video purpose, which I normally shoot for about a half an hour. Then it's a darker room. So I keep my fragrances in a very good environment, and hence the fact that I have fragrances on this half of the collection that have been here for many, many years. I have vintage bottles that are older than me, 50, 40, 30-year-old bottles. Very important, guys. Do not store your fragrances in the bathroom. Avoid fluctuating temperatures, especially high heat. Don't keep it in your car. Avoid sunlight. Avoid air going into the bottles, and you'll be all set. And if you can, store them in a nice, dark, temperature controlled, and especially if you can manage to have the space. I don't have the space to keep all the boxes, but if you keep them in the actual original boxes, even better. So I hope this video helped you guys. It's like a PSA, public service announcement style video, but really sharing these 7 deadly sins or mistakes that you guys should definitely avoid at all costs within your fragrance journey, guys. Of course, I get messages all the time, direct messages, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. If you guys have any questions, just don't hesitate to shoot me a message. Of course, you can leave them right here on this video. Let me know if I missed anything, if there are any other mistakes or deadly sins that you guys should avoid in fragrance collecting, or stuff that you guys learn along the way that you want to share with other folks that are, in this fragrance community. Be sure to, share your thoughts down below. As always, guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for the support. If you guys do like what I do here, keeping you in the know, don't forget to give me one of those. Hit the like button, subscribe for more, of course. Hit the little bell icon so you get these videos straight into your feed. As always, remember, guys, fragrance is emotion in motion. It's an extension of who you are. So choose your fragrances wisely and wear them well. I'll see you guys right back here with another one very soon. Take care.